Hi guys, welcome to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian, talking about a beautiful, massively positive, I believe, healing, higher love, force of goodness moon in Pisces, full moon in Pisces on September the 10th. They can offer up each of us a chance to repair broken agreements, restore our own spiritual belief and faith, to recover from an addiction or self-defeating habit or pattern, and to even have a spiritual breakthrough. All of this is possible courtesy of this full moon sitting in the sky at 17 degrees of Pisces. And we're going to talk a lot about all the reasons I say that. But before we get into the details of this full moon, a couple of notes. I am a Hellenistic whole sign astrologer using the tropical Western zodiac. Number two, if you would like to listen for your forecast, which we're going to do just before that, I'm going to talk about the general themes of this moon, and then we're going to do the all signs forecast. Listen for your rising sign. It'll be the most accurate. Sun and moon, most secondarily helpful and useful. Don't know your rising sign? Check out my description link below for a free video tutorial on how to cast your chart in whole sign houses using online free software. Last but not least, I have a astrology class coming up. So let's get that business out of the way. It's called Sky Reader, Be Your Own Astrologer, Time Your Best Life, 8 weeks starting in October. There is a wait list to get in. If you would like to be alerted for the early bird discount plus get into the class, I'm opening the doors first for anyone on the wait list. So get into that wait list. There's about 50 people on it, or so, maybe 55 right now. And you'll see the link in my description box for the Sky Reader class waitlist. And check out my newsletter, Cosmic Moonshine, swig of astrology news every week in your inbox, because when you sign up for that, not only do you get my 2022 all sign forecasts, which are 60-minute videos times 12, but you get a discount code for 30% off one-time use any reading with me. All right. So, wow, I got all that business done. Let's get rolling. So first of all, one of the things I want to talk about is that this moon has a very interesting star sitting with it called Achernar. Achernar is a positive star, according to the ancients, a little bit of the nature of Jupiter, which basically means a benefic star, a star that brings something positive to the storyline. Now, Achernar is also connected to the archetypal energies of the river. It's connected to I'm reading it now because I always forget this stuff. You can bring success in office, success in religion. It's got the influence of Jupiter. It's on the end of the Aries River, and it possesses a Jupiter nature with a dash of Mars. Okay. Now, it can bring happiness and success and good nature and faithful adherence to your faith and beliefs or religious philosophy. And it has a sense of being, allowing people to rise to high places in spiritual offices. Now, none of us are hoping we're going to get like, the popehood or something. So it just has a vibe there. That's why I'm going to call this like a higher love, spiritual love, faith-based energy that this full moon at Pisces 17 degrees is infused with. People with the moon conjunct this star when they were born are Hugh Hefner, Gianni Versace, the designer, Hugh Hefner, of course, the Playboy Mansion dude, and the artist Paul Cézanne. So there's just some examples of people who were born with this particular energy in their natal sky. So there's this positive moon, and at the same time, this moon is also opposite the sun, who's conjunct the asteroid Orcus. Now, Orcus has to do with the punisher of oaths. He's kind of an underworld god like Pluto. And if you break an oath, or you break a trust, or you break an agreement, he's the one that goes to punish you. And the moon itself is on the asteroid Nessus, Nessus. And that asteroid has a lot to do with the ability to really, first of all, Nessus was a centaur who got really angry at Hercules, okay? And in a sense of a profound rage, he went against Hercules and basically sought revenge on him. So it's really about where we may feel that urge in our own lives to go into some sort of vindictive and vengeful energy that is coming from some deep pain within ourselves. And I think with that energy, in that moon, it is softened by both a conjunction to Neptune, by that star Achernar, right? And we're going to talk about that rule breaker, oath breaker energy, also punisher of broken oaths across the way in a minute when I get to the collective story. Because I think this is a lot to do maybe with our pandemic narrative. For one thing, Neptune is connected to viral illnesses and The sun is in Virgo, the sign of medicine and health. This is where the pandemic began, when Mars went into the heart of the sun back in, I believe it was September of 2019. Mars, the god of plagues. So in the sign of Virgo. So there was a beginning of that narrative back then. And it's all come to an end. Mars has done his heliacal rise and his death in the heart of the sun back in October, November. We finished the plague story. Mars is done with plague making. Mars is like, I'll do some stealth wars, thank you. That's what he'll do in his rise in Scorpio, but he's not likely to care about plagues anymore. So we're kind of like been there, done that on plagues, and even monkeypox, it ain't going anywhere. And so I do feel that there's something coming to the collective sphere, because Neptune is where we have obfuscation, outright delusion, or even when people try to pull the wool over someone's eyes, right, to delude others purposefully, mislead others purposefully. So this Neptune is conjunct the moon, right? Neptune is about 6 degrees off of this moon, and the punisher of broken oaths and trusts. Orcus is sitting with the sun, and there's this energy here in the sky that kind of makes me wonder, like, I'll give you an example, but I mean, Joe Biden is not going to have a booster shot. You know why? Because it just came out that he's had COVID. He's got natural immunity. This is what I don't know who said it. One of them staff at the White House, maybe the press secretary, saying, well, of course he's not going to have a booster shot because he just had COVID. Okay. So the whole point of that is that some schools are mandating students have booster shots, even if they've just had COVID. People are being told still can't go back to their job because they don't have a booster shot, even though they just had COVID. This kind of thing is really twisted up right now in the collective. I mean, we all kind of know everyone's had COVID at this point, especially the BA 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Even a new study came out that showed that when you've had BA 1 or 2, you have like a really, really high long-lasting antibody level response, immune response to not getting BA5, etc. So the gist of it all is that I think some pandemic frustration and some pandemic tensions coming into the sky, but to heal things over the course of what? Over the course of the 2 weeks that follow the moon. So there's this narrative that's connected to maybe the pandemic narrative. Now, don't forget, I'm going to do all signs, but some of you may want to see the sky, and I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to bring in a little bit also about Hygeia, the goddess of healing, but also hygiene, and also like mask wearing and things like that. Now, you see her down here with the south node and Uranus with the north node. And the reason I'm talking about that, there's that full moon, and it is a connection point between these two that's flowing, a trine to Hygeia. That's why I'm calling this a healing moon, a faith installing moon, a hope moon, all of that kind of thing, especially regarding things to do with illness, viruses, healing, and hygiene as well. Okay, hang on a sec. I was going to stop the share, but I'm not. I'm going to also say every full moon is always connected to a past every full moon is always connected to a past new moon. And because of that, you almost cannot consider it without looking at the last one. So the new moon in Pisces in 2022 was on in March 2nd of 2022. And so therefore go back to the early first 2 weeks of March to know how in your own life and how in the collective this is bookending. For example, when we talk about the pandemic, when we think of March of 22, that was after the December, January, February fear and panic that Omicron was this terrible thing. It was going to take everyone down because it had complete immune escape from vaccines, for instance. But then it turned out by March, we were all going, oh, everyone had it. Wasn't that bad. Hospitals weren't overwhelmed. In fact, the ICU rates and death rates were much lower than the other waves that had preceded it with the other strains. So keep that in mind. So I think we're going to sense a relief, a sense of full relief is coming to the collective. Maybe some pandemic measures and restrictions that are still remaining in different countries around the world may loosen up completely or be given, a timetable for letting them go. All right. Like, I keep talking about the United States and Canada being one of the few countries left in the world that don't let people come into their countries without a double vaccination that has no consequence on the current strain anyway. These are vaccinations that don't have, especially if you had it more than 6 months ago, any impact on getting COVID or not getting COVID. All right. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is, I'm going to blow this up a bit in a minute, but I'm hoping you can see it. I want to talk about this Jupiter here. Thank you to Austin Kopek on the Astrology podcast, because he alerted me to this. I'm a Patreon with these guys, and I always get their stuff in advance. And I've been pondering this for a while now. This is a contra antiscia between Jupiter and Neptune. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Neptune's conjunct the moon. So Neptune's playing a role. I really love this Neptune position for healing addictions, self-sabotage, restoring faith in something, coming to a romantic love that's quite soulmate-y, or a higher love vibe in life. And the thing I want to say is that Jupiter contra antiscia simply means that there's a secret conversation between Jupiter and Neptune. And it's because, let's think about Neptune being 6 degrees, we're going to round it up, 5 degrees and 46 minutes, and Neptune being sitting here at 24 degrees. And so what happens is, if you add that together, you get 30 degrees, right? So this is a contra antiscia, and the contra antiscia signs are considered perhaps to be more combative than antiscia. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole how antiscia and contra antiscia works. There will be a little module on that in my Sky Reader class, but I will say this because I don't have time to do that, and some people don't care. There is a possibility from the ancient books about this thing called contra antiscia, that Jupiter is holding the commanding hand, and that in this case, Neptune is in the receiving or obeying position. Now, Jupiter is a benefic, and Neptune is obeying Jupiter. And so Jupiter is law. Jupiter is expansion, luck, and growth. Jupiter is faith and hope. Jupiter is wisdom. Jupiter is guru, dispeller of darkness. So there's a strong Jupiter influence playing. And don't forget, the moon will bump into that Jupiter really within a half a day of going into, within a day of going into this full moon. In fact, let me show you that, because some people might like to see that. So yes, the moon will first bump into Neptune, but we're not really going to say a lot about that, because the Neptune planet is not a traditional planet. So I would just say that maybe it bumps into Neptune. Sorry, I'm going quickly here. But you will see that the moon will bump into Jupiter moon will bump onto Jupiter on September 11th around 8 in the morning. Okay. And it is on September 10th around 3 in the morning in my local time, Vancouver, Canada, that this moon happens. So within a day, in a little bit, you're having this strong vibe that's connected to this moon that has something to do with what Jupiter, a benefic planet in the sign of Aries, would wish to occur for the world in the 2 weeks that follow this moon. Alrighty, Jupiter is in command. Anything else I want to say about the collective before I roll into the all signs portion? Yes, there is. This Uranus is sitting and now retrograding at 18 degrees. Now, 18 degrees was where back at the end of July and the beginning of August, there was a commanding energy of Mars, the North Node, and Uranus colliding at 18 degrees. It was very precise around the 1st and 2nd of August. This rare event that last happened 2,300 years ago, occurred because it's the introduction of the Mars factor to the story. And I would say that there's something going on in this particular moon that has a echo, or is in some way connected already to this Uranus narrative. And that's because the moon at 17 degrees opposite the sun, is involved in this story. There is a lunar influence that's playing out that recapitulates the moon story. I apologize about my screen going all over the place. I'm just trying to get the moon back to 17 degrees for your eyeballs, okay? So, for example, and I forgot to mention, there's Juno, the goddess of commitment and bonds and marriage. I have to really think, how is it that Orcus and the sun, Orcus, the punisher of broken commitments, oaths, and vows, and Juno, the keeper of commitments, oaths, and vows, such as marriage, are in an opposition here? What promises were made to the public that were broken oaths and vows? I'll give you an example. If you take this vaccine, you won't get COVID. Yeah, okay. No, that wasn't true, right? That was actually data that was already known that it would have a waning influence. It was in the Pfizer original data sets for the studies. So there were a lot of broken promises, broken oaths that hit the collective regarding Neptunian things. Now, I can apply it beyond the pandemic. This could be other things in the sphere of the world where people feel that they have been lied to, or that their trust has been broken, because the moon represents we the people. So there could be some scandals coming out of this as well. In fact, I'm wondering if Neptune is still trending around with Salacia, because that's been that. Let me go take a look. Is Salacia still in the story as she moved on? For a while, she was doing a trip with Neptune. No, she's gone, but she's kind of like the gossip and the misinformation asteroid. But Neptune is with Diana, the asteroid of the huntress, also the protector of women in childbirth, the independent, fierce feminine, and the moon is the feminine energy. So broken oaths, broken vows, and women, it could be the Roe versus Wade being overturned, for example, coming back into the story with commanding legal Jupiter playing a role around what happens in the 2 weeks that follow this particular lunation. And I don't remember when that all was announced, that Roe versus Wade story. So I'm going to pause the recording. No, I'm not. I'm going to just Google it on my phone for you guys because, well, I mean, maybe it was last March, right? I don't think it was. So Roe versus Wade. Oh, my phone won't give it to me, but anyway. Aha. Well, no, it was more like May, June, I believe. Okay, so, but nonetheless, that story could come back into the narrative. Let's get rolling and talk about the all signs. I'm probably boring you today. I'm really on slow-mo. Mercury shadow retrograde. I started this recording twice. Someone knocked on my door, then something else happened. I'm just feeling really weirdly not fully present today, so bear with me. And if you're new to my channel, like and subscribe, please, and hit the bell for notifications. I so appreciate you guys helping my channel grow. 1,800, 1,900 subscribers in the last 30 days, which is a new high for me. So thank you. Let's start off and go through all signs. And I think we're going to start, as always, with Aries, because it is the first sign of the zodiac in zodiacal order. All right. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign people. This is a moon that's going to be impacting you at a very subtle and very deep layer of your being, your 12th house. Now, what I love about this moon for Aries sun rising people, that this is a classic breaking free of an addiction, or breaking free of a self-sabotaging strategy or a self-undoing habit or pattern in your own life. This is definitely also an ability to go very, very deep into your spirituality. There may be some kind of spiritual illumination, some kind of renewal of a religious belief or faith, some kind of opening into some, like spiritual enlivenment for you. You may recover a sense of your other lives, remembering past lives. This is an ideal time for quantum healing, hypnosis, or past life regression, or any of that woo stuff. I will be seeing a medium during this time. Neptune can be involved in mediumship. And as you can see during the sky, because I'm an Aries sun and moon, that there is a conversation between Neptune and the house of the dead. And I would like to get in touch with the girlfriend who's passed among other dead people to talk to her. And I'm really looking forward to this medium. And if I really like her, by the way, I will share her with the channel. She's a client of mine and I've just met her and I can't wait to try her out. Now, the other thing I want to say is that if you are looking for the creation of revenue through barter and trade in foreign lands, in our modern day time frame, it can be PayPal and Stripe accounts, and how you do that kind of money making, or a trip to a foreign land as well. These are instigations of this moon. So what I mean is that in the 2 weeks that follow this moon, you may plan a trip. And go back to last March. Did you think of taking a trip? Did you think of seeing a medium? Did you almost have a spiritual breakthrough? This is a fullness, a completion, a sort of a yay moment for this story. And I will be planning a trip to Mexico during this time. So you see how it all works out. Now, what about that idea of the contra antiscia between Jupiter and Neptune? Because Neptune is strongly influential in this moon. Well, that contra antiscia between those two planets, Jupiter is in charge. You are in charge. And you are giving commands to Neptune in your 12th house. This is kind of cool because it does give you the upper hand when it comes to things like overcoming addictive habits and patterns, etc. You're really feeling like you got the ability to command your self-undoing and put it in a timeout corner. And a slight reminder, lastly, that this moon is connecting to that Uranus point in your second house of earnings. And this is a story that has been really jiggled around a lot since it first started to emerge in the end of July, in the beginning of August. Even the Aquarius moon that we had back, a month ago activated this point. 18 degrees is being very, very active lately. And so maybe your money, earnings, and possessions story and strategy is going to receive a positive development in the 2 weeks that follow the full moon. And you may kind of also be cresting or crescendoing or rising up in some endeavors financially that you put into place in the month of March. For some of you, it could be a completion of an earning strategy and a leave taking in a positive way, taking your bows. For others, it's also a fruiting, harvesting, and taking in the rewards of a financial wage earning, money making strategy that you may have begun to put into place last March. Okay, so last March is when I began to advertise my Sky Reader course, which I'll be teaching again this fall with revisions and a longer version. So it does make sense to me that way. And it was a very successful course in terms of enrollment numbers last March, April. Well, that's when I started to advertise it. Okay, so moving forward to the next sign. Oh, lastly, yeah, you're definitely looking at healing as well around money issues. This is a money axis, and there's such a flow between this moon and the houses, sextile and trine to the houses that involve money. So you're healing some deep-seated unconscious thoughts, beliefs, and patterns, maybe vows of poverty from another life regarding financial matters. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, of course, you guys are living through the absolute radical reinvention of yourself with Uranus in the house of you since 2018 and ongoing till 2026. Just reminding you of this journey of your freedom-loving, eccentric renovation of self with a bunch of rebellious energy as well. But because this moon, right, for you is in a very, very auspicious house, the house of good spirit, it's already a positive moon with fixed star Achernar, and it's already connected in many ways to this positive vibe of faith, love, and hope and commitment. This is about your well, first of all, at an esoteric level, there's a kind of a fairy godfather vibe, a karmic rewards vibe, a lucky vibe in the house of good spirit. And so visionary, imaginal things are very potent for you in this full moon. Having a new vision for your dreams and goals for your life, having some kind of connection to a significant friend who can offer you some agreement or contract or partnership, Juno, that is going to serve you in a positive and elevating way. You definitely have the ability to enjoy time with larger groups of people, friends, and social groups with that Neptune moon up there. And you're finding some dreamy satisfaction in your social groups and circles. Now, if you have spiritual social groups and circles, even more so, suddenly you love your church, your ashram group, or what your satsang group or your kirtan group, and things are really flowing for you in the 2 weeks that follow this moon. We do have that contra antiscia to Neptune from Jupiter, and this is Jupiter in command and Neptune obeying, and Jupiter is in the 12th house. Now, Jupiter is alone there, right? There's nobody with him. Well, I mean, there's Chiron, but I'm not using Chiron. So Jupiter's kind of dealing with his things his way. And, Mars is busy in your second house of money and earnings doing his thing for a long, long time. So it's kind of like Jupiter's solo flying here in the house of your dreams at night. Your spiritual gurus can be here, spiritual learning, and also new educational strategies. Some of you may want to learn something new with Jupiter here. He's retrograding, so it may not be all that new. It may be something you've touched on before, or you may want to study or learn something from another lifetime that you feel called to learn again. Sometimes we get these unconscious calls. Like when Jupiter was moving through my 12th house, I dove like head first into Hellenistic astrology, and I felt like I'd known it all of my life. Okay, so there's an example. And lastly, trips to foreign lands. Jupiter is flying places. He rules the air travel industry, and basically their 12th house is foreign places. So some of you Taurians are planning a trip maybe in the 2 weeks that follow the full moon, to connect to a foreign land, one that you may have wanted to go to before, yearned to go to, dreamt of going to, or have been to, or maybe had a past life in that place as well. So there's a lot going on here. This is also a good position with Jupiter in command to bring you lucky results from legal matters, because you see, Jupiter is the natural ruler of the ninth house, and in this position, he is god of justice, commanding this full moon to bring something like pennies from heaven, windfalls, auspicious money stories. So if you're like looking for settlements around money and you have anything outstanding in a legal situation, Jupiter could command that this work out in your behalf. And, you know, Jupiter rules your house of inheritances. And so for some of you, well, it may not be the most pleasant way to receive a windfall. News of an inheritance coming through or culminating, delays in inheritances resolving themselves, perhaps, or seeing a way through money owed to you and having a vision that it could come and that you have, you know, it's on the way, you know, that kind of thing can happen for a lot of you Tauruses. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Gemini people, you know, this is a very, very high space in your chart, your 10th house. It's up at the top of the sky, very visible, not hidden from the world, not hidden from your own eyes. And especially if you are a Gemini rising, sun or moon, with your rising sign in the last 15 degrees, let's say between 13 and 29 degrees of the sign of Gemini. Because you're really going to be grooving in a positive, flowing, sextile way to the fullness of this moon at 17 degrees of Pisces. And you're going to connect to whatever this dreamy, visionary, higher love Neptune is asking you to achieve here. Now, this is really good for any of you who use video or photography in your professional area of life, including YouTubers and TikTokers and stuff like that. With the Juno piece, there's a partnership in your career space. Could you be finding your dream business partner, your dream work partner? Are you encountering this idea of dream commitments in your workspace showing up for you? And also, there's a way in which this is a placement that is also healing something to do with your work story. Like you may find that you are finally able to come to some kind of resolution around like your office cubicle because you don't like it, or negotiating work from home policies, or asking for favors around things in your coworker and what workspace and work habits and routines. Now, technically also physically healing yourself. Now, I want to say one thing here for Gemini rising people. This can be very miracle healing as well. You can be healing through an emotional, psycho-spiritual way, something to do with an illness because of the Hygeia Neptune moon connection in the sky. And then you do have that punisher of broken oaths in the 4th house. Now, this can be for some Gemini risings, somebody pulling up the rug from underneath you regarding agreements to do with legacy wealth and or home and real estate, like your mortgage, your lender, your agreements to buy or sell, or even your landlord and your tenancy agreements. Okay. Especially with Hygeia South Node in the house of tenancy, you may hear from your landlord that they're going to pull the plug and they're going to move back in or something like that. I'll let you know if that happens to me because I'm a progressed ascendant in Gemini. But nonetheless, it all kind of works out in the wash for you because there's a lot of love in the sky, a lot of healing in the sky. Jupiter in contra antiscia to Neptune, coming from your 11th house of good spirit, where it's also the house of his joy. He's extremely powerful here, and he's commanding Neptune. Neptune must obey him. So Jupiter can bring incredible favors with friends. Favors from friends, people who want to help you, people who want to benefit you in some way, friends who want to lend a hand. Jupiter here can also look like a high-powered, leaderful influencer of some sort, lending a hand, shouting you out, giving you a boost of some sort. So there's this powerful yay moment coming from that 11th house, supporting your career endeavors and ambitions. And Neptune is bowing to that and following instructions from that Jupiter, especially in the couple of weeks that follow, because it's a signature that bakes in to this full moon in Pisces at 17 degrees. Okay, let me take a sip of my smoothie. Mm. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is flowing. This moon is flowing in a water trine to your identity, especially if your sun, moon, and rising is between, let's go from like 14 to 29 degrees. You're really getting a lot of love from this full moon. Go back to March the 2nd to also see what the new moon may have put into place. It is now coming to fullness for you. This is a ninth house of good, of God, the ninth house of your academic environment, the ninth house of things you wish to learn that are meaningful to you, your hope, your belief, and your religious beliefs, or faith, what you have faith in. This is also the house of foreign travel and foreign lands and pilgrimages as well. So all of these, and book publishing. So think about all of those themes, Cancer, but there's very possibly an opportunity arising for you, as well as court and legal matters, to succeed in court, legal matters, foreign lands, travel, book publishing, higher education areas. This can be your dream trip with female energy / people you're deeply connected to, partners. You may go with a partner, travel with a business partner, or travel with a couple. Juno, conjunct Neptune, probably a seaside destination. And also the moon is, sitting in a connection to Achernar, such a positive star that brings like beneficence and power and high and rising to high spiritual places. And this is a spiritual house, a house of God for any of you Cancer risings who wishes to, I don't know, get your doctorate in divinity or connect to a spiritual teacher that really calls to you, who's in the enlightenment sphere. This is definitely a yes moment. And go back to March and see if anything started to seed there for you back then. Now, I could also say that with this healing energy from Hygeia in your 5th house, there's also, because you're forming a grand trine of you, a Hygeia south node in your 5th house, and this in the 9th, healing regarding romance, sexuality, love, and your children. Let me just open my window again. It's warming up in my house. If you had a falling out with a child, you're healing that child relationship. If you had a falling out with a lover, you're healing that. If you had a falling out with your own sexuality, joy, fun, and play and pleasure, you're restoring that as well. You could also be finding you're denesting a child in a healing way or something like that during the couple of weeks that follow the full moon. I would say as well that you could find that anything to do with your creativity. This is a very muse-driven 5th house. And so any creative endeavors, any artistic endeavors that you have can really begin to flourish. And you do have the sun in Virgo, which is a sign of the writer. Some of you may be writing right now, and Punisher of broken oaths in the 3rd house. Some of you could experience some kind of breaking down of agreements with you and siblings. That's one possibility. Or you and extended aunt, uncle, cousin kind of areas where there was an agreement and it's no longer being kept. But in the overall story, there's so much healing in the sky, it's of no consequence. Finally, we're going to go with that. And then Jupiter, he's the one with the command, right? He's in charge. He's like in the contra antiscia. The Aries commands the Pisces real estate. So he's having to send powerful Jupiterian commands to Neptune in the 9th house. So there's some kind of flow and boldness in your career space that is being given a kind of energetic focus in your 9th house space. For example, you may want to learn something for your professional endeavors, and Jupiter gives you the commanding force to go ahead and sign up or find the right class or attract the right teacher so that you can learn something that enlivens your path of career in that 9th house way. 9th house learning doesn't tend to be a weekend workshop, okay? Think about this more like taking a multi-month class or getting sort of certification or some sort. Jupiter can also support you in legal matters to have the dream team, dream result. And with Juno there, court cases and legal matters will come to positive, equitable, and successful and lucky resolution for you, likely surrounding the full moon and in a couple of weeks that follow as well. Okay, I'm going to go get some water. I'll do one more sign before I do. I hope I am recording. I am recording. Okay, I'm going to get water before I continue. So hang in there. Hang in there. I'll be right back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back from my kitchen. All right. So moving forward. Back to the sky. Where was I? Moving forward to the next sign, which is Leo. Sorry, Leos, I forgot you in my last video, my Venus and Virgo video. I had to go back and paste you into the end. Okay, so what's happening here, Leo, is that you have this moon, this big, beautiful full moon in Pisces. Ignore the moon over here. Okay, that's just because I progressed the chart, but he's sitting at 17 Pisces at the time. I'll go back a day and we'll probably get it back. That would help. So you're looking at the right thing, right? Yeah. So this big moon at 17 degrees, sitting with Neptune in your 8th house of money that doesn't belong to you. Now, a moon is like shedding light, right? It's lighting that space up, reflecting the light of the sun in the earnings house. So there's a money earnings story that you're really being called to look at and pay attention to. I think about what was seeded in this part of your sky back in March of 2022, because now it's back on again for some kind of fruiting, fullness, harvesting, and completing energies. Because you have Juno here, there could be some agreements and contracts that you're making regarding finances with a husband, a business partner, some other joint force that you're collaborating with. And you also have that sun that is, the broken oath punisher Orca. So there may be some desire to really commit to oath keeping and commit to something in your finances. Now, this could be a commitment with another person, but it can be a commitment to yourself regarding something you're wanting to get accomplished here in the money story. The energy of this healing flow from Hygeia in your 4th house, it sort of feels to me a lot like you're healing something to do with your ancestral line, your home, family of origin, growing up as a child, some beliefs around money, some beliefs around prosperity that you adopted from your family of origin. What do they say? Money doesn't grow on trees, that kind of thing. You may also be doing some healing in your home regarding your earnings and money, by doing something at home, from home, within the home, Leos, to support you to earn money more successfully. And you may be working as a healer regarding something, because literally you could be a healer in your home from your home. I do love the fact that Neptune in the 8th house is being given commands from Jupiter in your 9th. So Jupiter in that contra antiscia looks over at Neptune, and Neptune must obey. So Neptune can dispense money out of the 8th house savings accounts or investments or credit cards in order for you to do Jupiter 9th house things like go on a trip to a foreign land, go to court and hire a lawyer, get that visa finally applied for and the money paid for the visa, get your higher educational applications in, including the fees to apply, get the agent, the book that you've been holding on to, but you have to pay the postage, just trying to tie money stories together with Jupiter in your 9th house. Now, you could even want to go study with a spiritual guide or teacher with this placement as well, but you need the funds liberated from that 8th house in order to do it. And, there's a lot going on for every Leo in the career area. You've been changing it up since 2018. You'll continue to reinvent what your career path is all the way through to 2026. And this moon is connected to that reinvention of career. And it's how you can generate some more financial wellness and greater glow up financially, especially by partnering with others in the money sphere, maybe leveraging other people's money, maybe getting a business loan, maybe getting a mortgage if you need one to buy a bigger home with office space, or, even to get more possessions that you need, Sun in the 2nd, in order to fortify your career path, because that Sun is trining that Uranus North Node in your 10th house. So yeah, maybe you'll have to splurge and pay for something that you need in order to succeed at your work and career. But it's got such flow and hope and ease and healing. It all works out wonderfully. All right, let's keep going. And we're going to move ahead by 1 hour or 2. All right. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Earth people, you. You got Venus going through your sign right now, right? September 5th to the 29th. So good news is you got a glow up. You're feeling more handsome and pretty and beautiful and lovely and kind and friendly and likable and persuasive and charismatic and popular. So there's that backdrop of feeling really good about you. And then on top of that, we have a full moon in the house of other. Now, the other is your significant other. Usually it's your marriage partner or the one you're with significantly, the committed partnership. Sometimes it's a business partner. And if you are like, selling your products or services to a client-based audience and marketplace. This is 10th house from the 10th. This makes 7th house a marketplace for your services, a visible place where people know what to get and buy from you. So in your way of this, if you are that kind of person, then you're killing it here, because, you know, Neptune moon is like allowing you to kind of dreamily persuade others to, what is the thing? You're glamming up the glow of what you have to offer the world. If you're in a marriage relationship or just a significant relationship, right, any kind, this is a really dreamy time. This is a big floodlight of light in the marriage house. And maybe you're going to up level the connection and even heal it by taking a trip with the one you love, or taking a class with the one you love, or having deep communicating and wholesome conversations with the one you love, connected to Hygeia in that 3rd house of communication. And so there's a sense of renewal around love stories. And if you're single, then a trip can bring in a healing love relationship for sure, or a class that you're taking can open the door to a healing love relationship. This is definitely good for those relationship stories. And Juno is about commitment. Alrighty, so you're going to be digging into a deeper fullness in your commitment levels with somebody you're with, maybe making decisions around getting married or moving in together, or what does commitment look like. Got a divine and unconditional spiritual energy with this star Achernar and Neptune. So maybe your love story is taking it up a notch and becoming more of a spiritual soulmate vibe. Certainly if you're single, you could be meeting that twin flame, divine complement, all of those things that we talk about in the New Age world. I don't really talk about it, but a lot of people do. Sometimes I listen to astrologers talking about the ascension process, and I'm going, "Wah." I'm like, "Wah." Excuse me, I used to talk about that stuff back in the day too, but not from astrology's perspective. But there is a quality of a very special kind of love story emerging here for a lot of the Virgo rising. And you're also reminding me, you know, that you've got that long-standing Uranus North Node. Well, Uranus has been in your 9th house of God and spirituality for a while, and also higher education since 2018. And then, you know, January of 2022, all the way till July of next year, North Node expands that. It's like you're having a revolution in what you believe is true about life, God, the world, the meaning of life, the meaning of your life, as well as what you think about education, foreign lands, and travel. This is a big energy. And this moon supports that. It sextiles that, it flows to that. And it could even bring you greater alliance with significant others, business and love, regarding your dreams and hopes to do with what God, meaning, love, life, you know, yearning for truth and wisdom is. Kind of nebulous, I know, best I can do. And Jupiter's giving commands, and Neptune is obeying. So Jupiter is in the 8th house of money that belongs to you because you have a bank loan, you made an investment in the market, you have a mortgage, you're leveraging money, credit card monies, or money from a grant, or money from a royalty check, or money from an inheritance. Some ways money comes, other people's money comes to you. So this is really, this can often be just like you got some money because your spouse gave it to you, honestly, because you have shared resources. Said, here, honey, have this money. But it can also be inheritance money. So I talked about this a lot. A lot of you guys, Virgos, are looking at the likelihood of some inheritance money between May of 2021 and May of 23. And so because Jupiter's retrograding, this would be more like going back over an expected bit of money that you thought was going to come to you, and it returns to you, or likely will come to you, and it will fortify your marriage, your relationship, you know, your connection to significant others in your life. So that's the best I can do on that. I would say to you that this is a good moon for doing joint and financial investments or projects with your significant other, business or love. Okay, Jupiter will have your back, and you might see those investments or projects seeded, you know, in the couple of weeks around this full moon. Go back to March as well. and then you'll see it maybe take off later on. Jupiter rules your 4th house of real estate. Do you want to invest in a home, buy a bigger home, make some monetary, put some money into making changes in your home, things like that. Buy a property with your partner, move in together with your partner, those stories. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, what we have here, Libra, is we have a big full Pisces moon in your 6th house of your work habits and daily routines, your health habits, exercise programs, and food styles if you need them to get yourself from being sick. Also, coworkers, colleagues, space. It's the work house. It's the go to work house. Then work 9 to 5, that house of work and service and servitude and slavery, believe it or not, in the ancient world. Now, this full moon is shining light that may have been seeded in March of last year for you Libras about health matters. And you are looking at a fullness here where now something's coming to a full completion phase regarding health challenges. And you have Neptune here, which can bring magical healings, more like, don't think about this as getting, going to the doctor for the classical treatments. This could be hypnosis, Reiki, abracadabra, healings of physical ailments, maybe with a female healer. Making agreements with others around work things that you need to attend to and sticking with it. God forbid the punisher of oaths, broken oaths can get you Orcus across the way. So this is like sealing an agreement or a vow or a deal regarding work. It could be a legal contract regarding work, like signing a new agreement regarding your position, your wages, your job. The moon rules your 10th house of career. This definitely has a lot of overlay for you of career things that are going on. Completions could be a very big topic with a full moon. Are you completing something in your work story? Are you getting ready to leave your company, leave your job? Those are possibilities because the North Node Uranus is in the 8th house of retirement and also like money that you get from a pension. So for some of you, flowing energies between this moon and your 8th house, you may be putting in a retirement strategy or actually beginning to take the steps towards something that looks like moving away from a job or work situation and also working on positive money outcomes from doing that. Tenancy and pets belong to the 6th house. You could have some openings regarding animals. This would be like, I'm getting my new animal that I had an agreement with a breeder to get. Your new pet is going to show up. You may also have agreements coming to contractual fulfillments now regarding home and real estate that you are either renting out or renting, like that you are the landlord or the tenant for. Now, I do think that with Jupiter, and there's a lot of healing financially coming for you Libras with this one, because, Hygeia, the goddess of healing, is with the South Node in your earnings house. Your earnings have probably been a source of disappointment, frustration, or loss, or you may feel that even if you're earning a lot of money, you're not particularly pleased. You're trying to let go of hustle by next July, and now, you don't want to do that anymore. You want to rely on money that comes from in investments or 401ks or something. So a lot of you Libras are really getting away from the hustle. You want chunks of money coming at you. You don't want to be in a drudgery paycheck life. And that's going to be true. Like that impulse to let go is really playing out of a job that could feel like drudgery. Anyway, until next July. And I'm bringing this up because there's some financial healing going on here regarding your money story and your work story and your savings and investment story. Okay. Jupiter's commanding the story from the 7th house of your spouse or business partner or significant client. And so basically somebody in the outside of you is going to have a on high commanding force of goodness for you to help you up level all of the things that I talked about, your health, your work, your finances. So this is not in your control. Jupiter here would represent either a teacher, a guide, a significant powerful client, or your partner, your love partner, or even a business partner, kind of calling the shots, but it supports you. It's positive. It's very good. And lastly, Libras, your partner could have a bounteous, expansive thing happening that also doubles down to support you in some way as well, as Neptune is getting commanded by that Jupiter. Okay. So next, we have the Scorpio folk. So Scorpio people, the water energy is coming at you from Pisces in your 5th house. So this is a flow of positive, lucky energy coming at all Scorpio risings. Okay. And then sun and moon, of course, as well. But it's really going to be positive. It's already a positive full moon. Now it's more positive because of the flow, just like the Cancers. Cancer rising gets the same flow vibe. So you're going to see that positive things are emerging from the waters of your fifth house. Your children have good things happening. Your sex life is really picking up. You could get pregnant, or your partner could get pregnant. This is very clearly that kind of possibility with this moon. And you also have a sense of something working in your creativity. If you're an artist and if you have a muse of writing or poetry or music, your muse is really like full and bright right now. And you're really hearing her and listening to what is called forth in your creative soul. And you could heal your body, and you could heal your mind, and you could heal your psyche in this kind of full moon. Go back to March, when you planted the seeds in March for what you are bringing into this full luscious healing of yourself through the fifth house. Now, the fifth house can be a money luck house. So there could be some money luck opportunity coming through the sky for you that also helps you restore and heal your mind, body, soul energy of your identity in that first house. And leisure travel belongs to the fifth house, and the moon Neptune mean like some emotionally satisfying, dreamy getaway with Juno, the one you love, the one you're with. That could definitely be lifting up here. An opportunity doesn't mean you have to travel the 2 weeks that follow this moon. But did you travel in March, or do you want to travel again? Is that what's being called out? But it means you have an opportunity to travel. You may even hear about a trip. You may plan a trip. You may be, in that stage of something. You're kind of healing your relationship with your significant other as well. There's energy of, how are you the healer as you look across the way at your seventh house of your partner, who's been going through a lot of change and erratic energy since 2018. And if you are with someone, that, you've been feeling their ups and downs since then, because they have a deep need for freedom, and you're trying to hold a relationship in the space of giving them the freedom, invention, and all that stuff they need. Often a Uranus transit through the seventh will get couples into polyamorous relationships and things that are very outside the traditional bounds. And Scorpio, if you're single, this could bring in a brand new love that comes in quickly and swiftly and energizes you, and it's out of the blue, and it's exciting and sudden and destabilizingly sudden, and full of like that soulmate dream love twin flame vibe. Okay, you're one of the two signs that get that vibe from this moon. If you find this person in the 2 weeks that follow, you may go back to last March and realize that you kind of maybe put the seeds in place for this meeting to happen. Like, I'll give you any example. Like in March, you decide to sign up for a course that you're taking in the 2 weeks that follow this moon in September. And then that's how you meet this person, because seeds were planted in March for the fullness of this meeting now. And your children are blossoming. So I said pregnancy, but your own children will have a full energy here. So your own child could announce that they're in a new relationship, bring your sweetheart home, that kind of thing. Jupiter is the god of opportunity, and he's the boss of Neptune here because he's in contra antiscia. I need to stretch. And so give me a minute, guys. And so this for you might look like something along the lines of Jupiter commanding from the sixth house what goes on in the fifth. So things to do with, okay, this can literally be a boss at work commanding you to take a vacation. This could be a commanding colleague, or even a commanding figure in the workspace, really giving you a prescription for more fun. Or if you are looking at it as a health house, maybe a doctor saying you need a vacation. So it's almost like there's this force of command from the health and work house to allow you to have more joy, play, pleasure, and fun in your life in the 2 weeks that follow this moon. And Jupiter here can help you eliminate debt, so especially credit card debt and stuff like that, or loans that you no longer want to hold. And so maybe just something like a lucky break in your debt life allows you some breathing room to enjoy your life, and you feel an expansion in the story of the life that you're living, the fun of the life that you're living. So yay, you Scorpios. Good for your health, good for your mind, good for your soul, all of this. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign in your natal sky. The Pisces real estate is the fourth house. You share that same sky as the birth chart of the US of A. This is definitely looking like a full light in the house of your home. And if you are thinking about signing a new lease, changing your home. There's a lot going on here because, you know, Juno can be your new agreements, your legal agreements around your home. It could be mortgage agreements, lease agreements, buying and selling agreements, full moon, full light. Were you thinking of doing something in your home way back in March regarding these themes? And now there's an opportunity to execute or fulfill that. And you could also feel that it's extremely healing for you. Maybe it allows you to take some downtime, some alone time, some sanctuary time by doing this. Or there could be a connection to things to do with foreign lands and shores and real estate for some of you. Maybe you're thinking of buying a home or traveling to a place where you can witness the possibility of a home, you know, like you, oh my God, I could move here, I could be at home here, even though it may not be your homeland. The North Node with Uranus has been jiving. Well, the North Node has been in your house of the workspace since January of 22 till July of 23. This is very much an expansion of your influence and power within the workhouse, you know, so you definitely are growing some real intensity here. And intensity doesn't always feel good, but anyway, there's a lot of intensity around that part of your sky, Sagittarius. This is also intensity around improving your health. And you probably had sudden and unexpected health challenges with Uranus North Node here that have occurred for you in January onward until next year. Like I know that my Sagittarius sun ex-husband had to have 2 to 3 different eye surgeries for unexpected eye health challenges. So, you know, I know a lot of Sagittarius have gone through unexpected health challenges in the last while. This will end by next July. But I wanted to bring it up because this moon is flowing and healing and offering really good support to you regarding your health, but it's coming from the root of the chart, the 4th house. Things to do with your mother are very apt to occur here, and you may have news about your mom that you're going to attend to, or events going on around the mom, but it's also very fortifying for health and work in your life. And Jupiter is commanding that Neptune, the god of dreams and imagination and self-undoing and addictions and fantasy. Oh my gosh, I love Neptune's range anyway. And Jupiter in the 5th house is the house of romance and children. So it could be literally something going on, a commanding situation with a child, commanding situation with a lover that is pressuring this story and taking the bull by the horns regarding where you live, your home life. Maybe is it going to stay domestic, or are you going to move to another country? You're going to buy, sell, or change your home? Is a child or a lover telling you what they want and you're listening because, yeah, Jupiter has the upper hand in this contra antiscia. But whatever they're trying to push you toward is going to be good for you. That's the good news. Now, Jupiter here can also be very much a fertility story. Some of you Sagittarius, be careful here. Jupiter in Aries until next May can get you or your partner pregnant, depending on your gender, of course. And so get ready for your biological organs, that I mean, whatever. And so, yeah. And so this could also be, oh my God, news that we're pregnant. We have to buy a bigger house. We need more space. We need to get a room with a crib, that kind of stuff. For some Sag risings, this will be one of the possibilities. You're really wanting to pull away from your visible work life and spend more time at home and enjoy the home. That's a classic yearly transit for you when the moon goes into the 4th house, opposes the sun in the 10th. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. So Capricorns, this is a story of the full moon that sits in your 3rd house, very flowy for you. It sextiles your health, your body, your identity. It offers up a kind of sense of blessed relief to that intensity of Pluto in your 1st house, where he's been traveling for a long time, since 2008. And so there's a kind of softening around the edges of a lot of intense self-transformation that this moon will give you. Now, this full moon in the 3rd house can often look like a journey or a trip somewhere. This bringing fullness to your life that you planned maybe back in March or considered taking back in March. You may also find yourself really connecting with a sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, or nephew as well, but extended family members are maybe taking up a lot of space here, but it's in a very positive, auspicious vibe. That star Achernar is a good star, nature of Jupiter in this part of the sky with a dash of Mars. And this could also be a trip to visit those family members, or they're coming to visit you. There can be a lot of learning in the 3rd house. You might want to study something, and the opportunity is arising for you to enroll in a course or begin that course as well. You could also find yourself in a very intense time with your communications or your online world. If you have those things going on. If you have an online presence, then you might be very focused on that social media, website kind of thing. Definitely looks like it could be a dream trip with a partner, you know, a partner of love, especially a love partner. And you're looking at some healing energy around things to do with your 11th house of friends and allies. And if you've been feeling that there's been disconnections from groups of belonging that you really used to enjoy, I don't know, communities, a lot of people are reconnecting with their communities that were shut down during the pandemic because like the venues had been closed, whether they were dance communities, churches, workout communities. So suddenly you're having this sort of healing reconnection to your social communities and having a little more maybe fun. You may be letting go of old dreams and old goals for your life, and in a healing way, accepting new goals and new dreams for your life. These are 11th house possibilities that this moon is bringing to your awareness. And if you are somebody who is like, because there's a sextile to that North Node Uranus in the 5th house, if you're somebody who is trying to get pregnant or your partner is, this could all open up some moon sextiles, the 5th house of fertility with Uranus, North Node, sudden, unexpected, delightful news that you or your partner is with baby. Or one of your children could have some unexpected, delightful news that surprises you. The sun is in the house of grandchildren. So there's always a possibility for some of you Capricorns that one of your children is going to announce that they are pregnant, and in comes a grandchild, sun in Virgo in the 9th. Or your child announces they're going off to university, or that they're changing the university focus, or they're breaking out of university. I don't know, things like that. And for creative Capricorns in any way, what earthy creations do you wish to engender? There's a lot of muse action in this time, good for writing and creating projects, writing projects and stuff. With Jupiter commanding from antiscia in the 4th house, something or someone in the house of where you live is the boss of you and is kind of demanding that trip, demanding that redirection of friendships and alliances and groups, commanding the sense of momentum around learning, travel, siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Now, the 4th house is a house of the mother. And this is a legacy transit that could even lead you to inheriting property or money from a parent, especially a mom, with Jupiter here till next May. Or you may have already got some money because the parent has passed, and this is a retrograde Jupiter, which kind of go back over the details of the will. And it could be that this moon is speaking to that some financial gain coming to you from a family inheritance, or even just from a gift from a family member, especially even a father with a son in the 9th. So that is allowing you some freedom around trips, travel, education, and all of the stuff I mentioned. Okay, it's Jupiter here could want you to expand your home, and now you're doing the renovations to do that, like you're looking at the game plan. Good things are happening for you about home and real estate, right, until next May. I'm an Aquarius rising. Here we are, guys. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, for us, the energy is a money story. We have a full moon in our money house, and we can go back to March and say, what did we seed in our earnings house that is now coming to fullness? And I was actually last March pitching my Sky Reader class to a few people. It was after I created the website and stuff like that. So there was a lot of the Sky Reader course going on for me last March. So it was the seed of that course, which I've taught once, and I'll be teaching again this October, November. So there's a full moon. Right, because why? Because in September 10th, add 2 weeks, I'll be in the promotional launch ramp. Cart will open for my course. So it's very obvious. I can see my connection between the earnings house and the new seeds in March and things that are fruiting and coming to fullness in this time frame. Because there's Juno, there may be partnering up or connections of partnering up with others regarding money and earnings in Neptunian dreamy ways. And also there's energy with Achernar of like benevolent protection and higher spiritual forces with that star saying that whatever you partner in financially right now is going to be very positive. And, you know, you're healing something in the career part of your sky, you know, going through the South Node transit for us Aquariuses, January of 22 to July of 23, we're letting go and releasing, surrendering some disappointments, or even experiencing a need to let go of facets of our purpose and career that aren't really working anymore. We know it's time to like change gears. And for me, I know that's the volume of clients I've seen in the last 4 years is insane, and it's not sustainable for me. Although I enjoy it, I will be cutting back. I already have cut my hours back as a consulting astrologer. I love that I did that because that's how I really learned my craft and totally dug in to the Hellenistic tradition. But I can see that it's time to release some of that. And so I'll be doing more teaching, and I'll be doing other projects in other areas like business coaching and stuff. But we, all of us Aquarians, can feel this healing vibe between money and career. It's like this is opening up some sense of relief regarding those themes. And then, you know, that North Node Uranus is our home, or where we're living. We've been feeling this like nomad transit of where are we going to move to, where are we going to live since 2018. I won't go back into my story. You've all heard it before. I've like changed homes 3 times since then. But also, this is expanding what we're doing at the bottom of our sky. So there's a new energy of fulfillment around home and land and nest and sanctuary and real estate. And that's a promise for all of us Aquarians tonight. We're getting into that thing of the big boom that happened at the beginning of August. It's promising us kind of a landing pad, a really home, stick the landing on a real home for each of us by the end of July next summer, because of the North Node leaving that part of the sky. So it's all tied together: home, career, and money. This is the full moon energy that we're experiencing together in this time, Aquarius, us. Now, there is a possibility with Jupiter commanding things from the 3rd house that there's going to be a sibling or aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, or nephew that's going to propel some opportunity that has to do with learning, teaching, or traveling regarding money and earnings. Okay, so you can get an invitation, an opportunity to teach a class, to go travel to teach a class, to an opportunity to communicate something online. But the pressure of Jupiter and Neptune obeying is really coming from the 3rd house. So it could even be that you're learning something, a skill of some sort. I'll be diving into this course that I'm being mentored in for a while now. I had to put it on hold because of travel. So maybe something I learned kind of propels this financial boost in my life, that this full moon is really showing me is possible, showing us it's possible as Aquarius rising. Opportunities from friends that you've known for a long time. The 3rd house is your friends from childhood, especially from elementary days. These people can often bring opportunities for us during this moon because of that contra antiscia, as I said earlier, between Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter is the boss of Neptune here. Okay, and anything else I'd say for us? I think that's about it. All right, moving last but not least to the Pisces people of the world. Pisces, you are having this energy of a moon in the house of you. New moon happened last March. Full moon is happening September 10th. This is, of course, your moon. This is all about you. And it's a full light on you, your body, your heart, your mind, your identity, your sense of personhood. You've got that dreamy Neptune transit since 2011, doesn't finish till 2025. You've been like ultra mystical, ultra spiritual, ultra confused, ultra foggy, ultra unsure ever since then, probably dealing with addictions and letting them go, and spiritual attainment and awakening as well, showing up for you. Now, Pisces, I mean, you really have to say that this moon is offering something really lovely if you are considering partnering with someone else, because the goddess of partnership is there, and the punisher of broken oaths is in the 7th house. There's a real highlight here on what is your commitment to somebody in your life. Is it your business partner? Is it your client base, your clients? Is it are you trying to renew a commitment to your marriage partner? Because in a way, I think of the sun, and the punisher of broken oaths is over there, and Juno, the goddess of keeper of oaths, is on the other side. You're going to oath up. You're going to try to really own up to some commitment to your clients, your audience, your marketplace, your spouse, or your business partner. So there's like almost like a deepening commitment that brings a healing to your 9th house of faith and belief in higher wisdom in the world, or your 9th house of book publishing, or your 9th house of foreign lands, or your 9th house of courts and legal affairs. I mean, a moon and sun opposition can be tension with your marriage partner. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But resolving that tension in a legal way could be a part of the narrative here. Getting a legal contract off the ground around some kind of decision or situation that you're both dealing with, and having some resolution or mediation even. Or this could be an opportunity for travel to a foreign land that's going to be a very healing trip, and you see the light that this trip could happen, and you could take this trip, and you and your partner are excited about this journey that you may take together. Okay, there's ways it could show up. You are expanding your third house of trips and travel and online platforms and business, online business and learning and teaching, as well as that North Node is expanding since January of 22 to July 23, your third house, and also things that are unexpected and exciting and positive with your siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, is supporting you in the 2 weeks that follow the full moon. Jupiter is bossing Neptune around in his contra antiscia position, as they have a secret aspectual relationship. So what kind of force is coming from your second house of earnings, money, possessions, that is going to propel you to some positive developments in your obligations, agreements, and contracts with others? I think for some of you, money is going to show up, opportunity, money, Jupiter money opportunity, the money from the past, he's retrograde, coming back to you, money owed to you, maybe even a delayed bit of money from something in your workspace showing up in your life and allowing you the opportunity to go into a really lovely sense of a possibility about financial goodness regarding trips and travel and learning, online businesses and platforms, teaching, those sorts of themes. And the word international and people from international shores are really offering a sense of wholeness and healing in your life during the 2 weeks that follow this moon as well. All right, so I think I covered everything I have to say with you guys. Father figures can be the sun. So a major father figure breakthrough, especially with Hygeia in the house of fathers in Vedic astrology, your ninth. There may be a big healing, a real life healing with a father or father figure, or an emotional healing regarding your relationship with a father or father figure in the window of this moon. All right, and go back to March. Were you trying to heal any of those things back then? Now maybe you're able to accomplish that. All right, thanks Pisces for listening, everybody for listening. Don't forget, if you are willing to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, I am so grateful that you are on team me. All right, guys, I'm heading off to the beach. Big hugs. This goes to my Patreon community first. Ciao, ciao.